Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm super excited to talk with you because I'm going to be sharing with you the differences between Iboga and Ayahuasca and how I've experienced these medicines. So they are incredibly different, and what I want to say right off the bat is these are my personal experiences with these medicines. It's not saying it's going to look exactly like that for you. So as always, trust where you feel led in your heart. Trust the medicine that's calling to you, and or if you're just here because of curiosity, welcome. And these are my personal experiences and just insights from each of the medicines. So first of all, one thing that I think is super cool that I learned about when I was actually at Iboga Wellness and taking part in my first initial Iboga ceremonies is that in the theory of Pangea, where all of the continents were connected, all of the different countries of the world were all one. I mean, how amazing would that be if we could just have no borders, live wherever we wanted to live, walk wherever we wanted to walk to. But anyways, in the theory of Pangea, the Amazon and Gabon in Africa, where the Iboga root comes from, were connected. So what I think is really beautiful about this, and it's actually kind of synchronous that I'm filming this video because I'm actually looking out at through the windows the Amazon River. I'm here in Iquitos, Peru right now because I'm about to venture into the jungle to do a traditional plant dieta with Bopensana and Ayahuasca, and I'll for sure be sharing that experience on this channel as well. So you'll be hearing from me again soon from the medicines, and I'm very much looking forward to that. But what's beautiful, what I'm getting at here, is that all of these sacred medicines, all of these beautiful master plants seem to come from a very specific area of the world, which is the Amazon, right? Of course, there's beautiful master plants that are all around the world, but how interesting that the Amazon and the jungle and where these were all connected at one point in time in that theory. I mean, what a magical place. What a magical world we live in. And I mean, just thinking this past week, I literally saw pink dolphins in the Amazon River. Pink dolphins exist in the Amazon River. We live in a beautiful, beautiful world with so much magic. And speaking of magic, the way that these two different plants work is completely different magic. I mean, the same magic as in, yes, they are both classified as psychedelics, but they are incredibly different. So both are plant medicines. Both have been used for thousands of years. Both are incredibly deeply healing. And now what I'll say is that ayahuasca is the grandmother, considered the grandmother or Mother Ayahuasca. You may have heard of her because it is this divine feminine energy, this divine feminine guide. That's been my experience, is that when I've communicated with her, each time that I drink, she's very much guiding you through this journey. And with Iboga, this is the divine father master plant, has very much a masculine energy to it. It's penetrative, it's deep, it's thorough, and in comparison to the divine feminine, ayahuasca can tend to be very ethereal. I've had experiences where I've left my body on ayahuasca and come back down to earth, right? Ayahuasca, you can have an array of different experiences. You can be in your body, you can be out of your body. With Iboga, I found I was rooted right back into the earth, right back into nature, and I was in my body the whole time. Other main differences from these medicines is that the longest ayahuasca ceremony I've ever been in started around maybe 9 p.m. and then goes into the early mornings, goes until sunrise, mornings maybe like 8 or 9 a.m. And Iboga, I was in that psychedelic journey or journeys, I did 2 of them for days. So days I was in the medicine, days I was in a psychedelic trip. You guys can watch the story times if you haven't yet to learn about the longevity of these ceremonies. And another main difference around that is that ayahuasca, of course, you enter into this space and time where time doesn't really exist. You're in the medicine, you're in different dimensions and lifetimes, and you can't really sense that maybe it's like 3 a.m. or something like that, because that's just not where you are. But with ayahuasca, I always felt like there was this deep understanding that I was in a ceremony experience with these people and it wasn't going to last forever. With Iboga and the length of those ceremonies, it felt very long. And especially in my second Iboga ceremony, which I shared, which I was journeying through my personal hell, I didn't have the perception that this was going to end. I was very much living in this reality that this was how life was, and this is how life was going to be forever. I almost felt like I literally lost my mind. That's how I felt on Iboga. So in that sense, what I'm also getting at here is that with ayahuasca, there's this flowiness to it. As in, if something's scary, you don't always have to venture into that place. That's what I found with ayahuasca, is that, you know, I do choose to be fearless. I do choose to enter the medicine in that way and look at what feels uncomfortable and feel it to heal it in ways. But in the past, like in my first couple of ceremonies with ayahuasca, when things were scary, I withheld myself from going to the scary places until I was ready. Iboga, you were like in the scary places. You were just where you need to be, where you need to go. And that's how that works. So that's what I'll say, is that it's almost as if with ayahuasca, you were dancing with the medicine. You can move with the medicine. You can work with her and communicate with her in ways. This is my personal experience again. And with Iboga, you are just committed to a journey, and you are getting what your soul signed up for, whether you are comfortable with it or not, and you will be very uncomfortable. That's one thing too with Iboga, is that you are guaranteed to be uncomfortable for the entire experience. There's no getting comfortable with Iboga. There's no comfort. And that's because the blood drains from your limbs into your vital organs. So already you can't move on Iboga. You need support when you are getting up to use the washroom if you need to, or when you get carried back to your room. You can't get up and do things. Like dancing is not a thing that occurs in Iboga ceremonies. That is something that I've experienced in ayahuasca ceremonies. So with Iboga, that discomfort in the body is present the entire time. Versus like ayahuasca, you never know what you're gonna get. It's always what you need. I've had experiences where I've just been so blissed out in love all night, and that was my journey, right? Or there's a roller coaster of emotions and whatnot, but I still can get up and move and dance or go up to see the shaman and do things like that. That's not the case with Iboga. You are in your body witnessing everything that needs to be released, transformed, and whatnot. So with ayahuasca, there's definitely been times where I have felt discomfort in my body. There's definitely been times where I've been called to feel it, to heal it. I have a video on my channel, which I'll link down below, which was one of my most difficult ayahuasca ceremonies, where I literally felt like the entire night she was pressing the buttons of all my suppressed emotions and deep fears, like abandonment, fear, projection. And that's how I spent the entire night, was just releasing suppressed emotions and trauma from my body. So in that way, like that ceremony example, they are kind of similar, as in you may have to lie in discomfort all night. But the way that these medicines work, I would say, is very, very different. And it's hard to even compare them because they are so different. It's like, I mean, I know I'm doing my best here right now, but they are incredibly, incredibly different. Ayahuasca can rewire your brain. Iboga, you're going in for literal plant medicine brain surgery. So you are going to walk out of an Iboga ceremony, even if it's just one that you do, or if it's like two and you go to Iboga Wellness, for example, like I did. You are walking into that retreat one person and you are walking out a different person. Same, but different, right? Like it's same Zoe, but different. Much more liberated. With ayahuasca, yes, I can say that when I entered into ayahuasca for the first time, I had 4 ceremonies. My first time at Rhythmia Life Advancement Center in Costa Rica, I walked out and I was a different person because I felt much more like spiritually awakened. I saw things that I couldn't unsee, right? I saw extraterrestrials and I was like, well, they're real. And now it's it's real for me. It's all real. It's all real for me. But anyways, with Iboga, it's you. It's awakening, yes, but it's more of your entire body is being thoroughly worked through. Your brain, like I said, my spine was healed. There was so much I feel like was repaired in my body that I couldn't even really identify. I just literally felt like I went into Iboga, scrubbed clean, right? My brain was scrubbed clean, my body was scrubbed clean from so much trauma, and I came out strong and sparkly. I've come out of ayahuasca sparkly as well, But I wouldn't say it was the same level of this is an ultra human that's popped out of ceremony. Still incredibly deeply healing, and I owe my life to ayahuasca, so it doesn't even, like, it's hard, like I said, it's really hard for me to even compare, because they've both been so incredibly deeply healing for me, and I owe my life to the plants in general. Like, they are my truth, they are the truth, nature. I will always come back to nature as the ultimate truth for myself. So again, it's hard to compare them in these ways, and I don't want to say one's better than the other, but it's like, where do you feel called? And trust yourself in that, because ayahuasca prepared me for combo, prepared me to be a combo practitioner. And both of those medicines together, ayahuasca and combo, prepared me for Iboga and that intense discomfort. I couldn't imagine it any other way. But I also do know that when I went to Iboga Wellness, there was people who had never even tried any type of psychedelic, who were there for Iboga for the first time. So really, it's about tuning into and trusting your internal compass. And I'm simply sharing, again, these comparisons to do my best to give you any insights that your heart or soul might be seeking in order to make the right decision. And just as I say that, a condor just flew right by the window. So if that's a sign for any of you, that's a sign for some of you. So ayahuasca, like I said, it can be this ethereal experience where you leave your body. Iboga, you are nowhere else but your body, and it sort of has this feeling like when you're in the medicine that you're inside of yourself, whether you want to call it like your soul, right, or your consciousness, is leaned back, and you're just witnessing this medicine clean and work throughout your body. And that, of course, might trigger some emotions or things that need to come out to be released. But especially my first ceremony, I really witnessed this. They told us about it at Iboga Wellness, is that you're sort of leaned back. The medicine's going to show you whatever it's going to show you. It's going to do its thing, and surrender and lean back and just like allow the experience to unfold. It's going to be a long journey. It's going to be an uncomfortable journey, but just lean back. And that was my experience. Also, in some ways, I was sort of like an active participant. Like in my first ceremony with Iboga, I was working with my soul to scrub and heal my spine. I was working together inside of my body with my soul. With ayahuasca, sometimes I have had ceremonies that I was very much in my body. I've literally, my first ceremony with ayahuasca, I had this experience. Well, I was out of my body, then in my body again, but I had this experience. I have a story time again in my ayahuasca series on here if you guys feel called to check that out for more information. But where I was literally like magic school bus inside of my body, cruising through my veins, like very much in a psychedelic reality. So I was in my body, but then I also had the experience where I'm out of my body, then I'm back in my body, then I'm in all these other dimensions. And when that occurs, like when you're outside of your body and you're receiving so much information and so many downloads in different ways, you're up in space and wherever else. So what I'm saying for myself is that I come back down to earth, and I'm left after the ayahuasca ceremonies to integrate what did that mean for me, or what was that trying to show me, or what actually feels like truth in my body, and landing in my integration in that way and working through it more so myself. Versus what I will say about Iboga is that was truth. There was no question about the things that I saw. There was no question about the things that I learned about what was being integrated into my body. The Bwiti wisdom, the truth about nature, the root of all of who we are, the wisdom that was being integrated into my being from this beautiful sacred medicine. I, again, popped out of Iboga, and that's why I say, like, you're a new human. There's no question. What you saw is truth. What I saw, I know. I know what I saw. I know what is happening in my life. I know my path. My soul is literally in my body right now, and it's walking out everything. So with that, it's like there's no question. You know that what you saw is true. Versus ayahuasca, you see different truths, right? But it's almost like up for your interpretation, because I think that's because I'm not in my body. I have such a deep connected relationship with my body, and the way that I kind of navigate life is that truth is light and lies are heavy. So popping out of Iboga, it was just straight truth. Released a bunch of lies, a bunch of stuff, energy, trauma from my body, from my psyche, everything that wasn't serving me is out. Versus ayahuasca, it's like, well, I saw this vision of the jaguar and the jaguar came and helped me. I'm like, what does that mean, right? That's just like an example. So it's kind of left for interpretation of what is the truth of that. Is the jaguar my spirit animal? Am I stepping into more jaguar nature in my life? Am I gonna Google the spiritual meaning of jaguars and see what traits that is, right? Like, it's up for interpretation versus popping out of Iboga. It's like, yep, okay, I'm sure and I'm certain, and now I need to integrate. Both medicines have very like integrative and depthy journeys, and I would say that I'm speaking into the integration process is that ayahuasca, there's things that have clicked for me in the present sort of days that like I saw in ceremony years ago. I've done ayahuasca, after like I go into the Amazon here, I've done ayahuasca like 22 or 23 times, I think. So I've had many ceremonies of ayahuasca. I've had 2 ceremonies of Iboga. And I've done ayahuasca consecutive nights, like I've done 4 consecutive nights twice in my life. And so ayahuasca, I feel like it's something like you can consume, or I personally have consumed more frequently, of course, because I have only done Iboga twice. But having done Iboga those 2 times, I know that that medicine's integration journey could take up to an entire year. I will do Iboga again. I'll share more about that in the future, of course. But it's not like ayahuasca where she calls you, she brings you in, and you might do like 6 ceremonies in a year or something like that. That could be a reality. Or you might do 4 ceremonies in a year. Like, that's sort of how I started. And with Iboga, it's not something, of course, because of how long and how intense the journeys are, that you would like go back into like so frequently, I think, especially because from my experience integrating this medicine, it's been a whole ceremony in itself. But I would say ayahuasca is a lot more lighter on your system, I guess is what I'm trying to say here, is that sometimes a part of the integration experience of ayahuasca for me has been more ayahuasca. And I say that because when I've attended these retreats where I've done ayahuasca 4 nights in a row, is that by the end of all of these 4 nights, I have this journey. That one night led to the other night, led to the other night, led to the other night, done. And I had this experience with Iboga where it was like a light ceremony and a dark ceremony. Of course, it all had its journey, but I wasn't about to do Iboga the whole next week. That's for me personally. But I will go back and do it again. I will go back and do another 2 ceremonies, because where I'm at now with the medicines is that I feel like I've done so much healing and clearing, and we're all healing as human beings in our lives. Like, we're all on this continuous journey. But where I'm at with the medicines right now is that I'm not going in to achieve anything anymore. I used to go in to really work on my mother wound, let's say, some of the bigger things for me, or healing my heart in ways. And now I feel just really damn good. like I'm so present, I'm traveling the world, like I'm living out my dreams. I've always wanted to go into the Amazon, have the experience with the tribes. It's all happening, it's all here, and I'm so grateful for it. I'm very happy, like I'm very joyful, and I just feel so good in my life. I'm so grateful again to the plants. None of this would have been, I wouldn't be where I am today without ayahuasca, a loving mention to Kambo, even though that's not what this video is about, and also Iboga. Like, I would not be who I am today without these medicines, and I wouldn't have had it any other way. They are so incredibly precious and sacred and powerful and potent. And so now the way that I go about it is like, I just love being a student of the medicines. This is why I'm going into the jungle, to learn from the tribes, to have this experience, to be in nature, to be more connected, to be at the root of the origins of where this medicine ayahuasca has come from. The one that is my mother, right? Mother Earth. So, just gives me confirmation chills saying that to you guys. I'm just so excited. I can't wait to share what the medicines teach me. But like I said, I'm like coming at it as a student to the medicine. I'm gonna go do Iboga again, right? Like I shared with you guys, I navigated my personal hell through Iboga, but I would do it again. And this is why the 2 medicines, the similarity with them is that I love them. I love both of them with my whole heart. And I'm so grateful for them with my whole heart. my life would not be what it is without either of them. They're both equally as precious to me. No one is better than the other. They came at their divine times in my life and they served their divine purpose. And like, even though Iboga was like scary and like really scary for me, as I shared in my second ceremony story time, I'm going back, and I'm going back because they have been so deeply transformational and profound. And again, I love to be a student of this. I love to learn, and I really truly love to learn from the plants, and I'm not afraid of them. I'm not afraid of them. I used to be afraid of ayahuasca at the beginning. Like, it kind of spooked me. I'd never touched psychedelics or like even other substances even before I tried ayahuasca, so that it was a whole other awakening experience for me. But I'm not afraid anymore. I'm just excited to learn, happy to learn, open-hearted, open mind. Teach me everything you know, because for me, nature is the truth. Anyways, I hope that this video supported any of you who are feeling the call towards either of these medicines. And let me know down below, have you tried ayahuasca or Iboga, both of them, and what the experience was like for you, if you're feeling called to one versus the other. Or of course, if there are any questions, drop them down below, and perhaps I'll record another Q&A type video in the future about it. So sending you so much love, and I'll talk to you soon.